Hi, my name is Ali Farajala, and I'm here today to talk about my experience on APGENCO Project that we worked with the team on the process, on how I went about entering into the team, what's the understanding. So a couple of things, a couple of exercises that we have done prior to the assignment definitely enabled me to be able to get into the team environment prepared and understanding what's the key things that I need to understand, looking at my teammates and what are sort of challenges that we'll face being part of a team. So definitely the Google review on how to make a perfect team got me prepared in terms of understanding, looking at lots of case studies. And there are some many high-performing teams, but there are some usually underlying issues and how people disagreeing on decisions and how people disagreeing on an approach, on how they went about. So that New York Times article definitely gave me a perspective as to what to look for while getting into the team, as well as what type of teammates you would have in your team. Sometimes high-performing teams tend to have lots of issues and lot of egotistic approach to doing things and how to compromise and ultimately getting consensus on a decision before we progress to the next step. Another thing that before getting into the team kind of enabled me to have a better understanding of what are the key issues that I might get into is the country comparison by Hartford's theory. So my team, working into my team, so I have one Australian, I have two team members from China, and I have one person from Pakistan, and I am from South Sudan, but I think South Sudan is not in the charter, so I've picked up Kenya, which is pretty similar to South Sudan in terms of the dimension. So looking at the power distance, so power distance, looking at China is very big in power distance, and looking at again Kenya is score 70 and China score 80 on power distance, and Australia is very low in power distance, and Pakistan is a little bit 55% to the power distance. So that kind of gave me holistically the kind of teammates, part of culture they came from, as well as moving to individualism, where I look at Australia is 90%, Kenya is 25%, and China is 20%, as well as Pakistan is 14%. And those theories give me an indication of the teammates that I'm going to work with them, as well as are they coming from a collectivism background, or are they coming from an individualism? So those theories or those psychometrics exercise definitely gave me an insight as to how I'm going to approach my team and how I'm going to deal with my teammates. So getting into the project, actually being part of the project, we had lots of, obviously we went through the norming, forming and storming and performing, as well as a journeying phase, where it's just really the first couple of days or the early meetings within the project is understanding what are every teammates or like capabilities, or more so what are the areas where they're really very strong on, where are the areas that they kind of need a bit of an assistance. So again, assigning roles and responsibilities within the team early on gave us ability to avoid lots of conflicts, and everybody kind of took on a topic or an area where they felt more comfortable, more engaging doing per se. So that definitely did help in terms of how to avoid those kind of conflicts. Again, another thing that we kind of ran into, or another kind of sort of approach that we've taken is we have team meetings, we're recording minutes, and then we send the minutes and people get to agree on what's the next task. Again, another approach that we've kind of taken early on was always agreeing on a subject, always having that ground rules kind of help in terms of approaching the team or getting into a team environment. Having a ground rules, those ground rules really dictate what are the do's and the don'ts, and those ground rules, things, very simple things: respect for one another. Obviously respect is earned, it's not given, but also we have a generic statement of respecting one another. You can criticize somebody's idea, but you cannot criticize the individual. So all this kind of ground rules, getting into a team environment, enable the team to be able to understand what everybody. So initially, everybody knows their role. Everybody knows what are the do's and what are the do's and don'ts, as well as if you're not going to make it to the meeting, you need to let your team members early on that they're not going to make to the meetings. That enables everybody to have a contingency. So again, that stage of forming and norming and kind of getting into more a bit of a storming, where obviously early on when we took on the task and roles and responsibilities, we realized a week, so we have a weekly meetings. We realized that obviously some people not misunderstood, but they took and delivered a wrong outcome. I wouldn't say so there is a misalignment in the understanding of the project. So it took a project to another team meeting and we went back to the drawing boards on what worked, what did not work, what is the scope of the project. So again, not pointing fingers, not blaming anybody, but as a team collectively going back to the drawing boards and really understand the why and understanding the what, and just really drawing all those steps one by one. That kind of helped the team to get back onto the horse and start understanding what need to be done and what need to be avoided at that point in time. So I think that kind of worked a little bit. Another thing that really works very well for us is the idea of, if you cannot do it, let the team know early on. If you're having some challenges, let the team know early on, so somebody can then step in and do some help. Most of the minor issues that we have in a project is just a miscommunication or again, having a calendar issues where we can't get everybody in the room at the same time. So usually we have people who have classes, people who have work commitments and other personal commitments, that we have to make the team as flexible as possible. And again, the use of Google Docs helped a little bit in terms of we can work remote as long as we can see what you're doing. We can see that we're tracking green towards the delivery. So all of those elements really helped. Although there were some minor issues in the project, helped the project to stay in good health, and we're able to be always targeting green. Again, once we did the group survey in terms of really understanding or the health monitor, when we do that health monitor, there's a couple of things that picked up where there's some 3 areas, which is a full-time project owner. So again, not having that one team lead that drives the project, so we scored poor there in terms of we don't think we did well. And one of the things that we did is there was no dedicated project manager, or there's no dedicated lead to be able to drive the team. So post that meeting, we discussed that why we felt that way. Everybody kind of expressed their opinion. So what happened is we end up assigning one person to be, okay, this person is going to drive the outcome, is going to push the team to always meet their deadline. So that kind of worked very well. Another thing that we kind of went through, or we scored very low, is lows in metrics. I think early on when we kicked off the project, we did not define what success means to everybody, and success might mean different to me, might mean different to my colleague, and might mean different to other colleague of mine. So again, not defining what success really meant. Obviously the drive was a little bit different. So another action that we've done post that doing the health monitor survey is then we clearly discussed what success means, or developing that business case, what does it mean for everybody. And again, managing dependencies. So I think this clear understanding of dependencies. So those theories or those exercises that we've done definitely help the team to be able to keep the project up to the delivery, and also keep the team in a very healthy state. Although I think we had some disagreements, but they're all healthy discussions and healthy challenge to one another ideas. So that really one of the things that I can reflect on my experience in APGENCO wind farm project, where early on we did not define what we wanted to do enough. So 2 weeks down the track we realized we're going off track, and everybody is kind of delivering their workload or delivering their role based on their understanding. So I think the idea of having a guideline, so say, guys, let's go back to the drawing board and start reflecting on what's the whys and why we're doing the project, help the project really come back into speed. Again, I think the idea of having the HOSFED theory in terms of understanding different countries, different cultures, and different team members, and how we're going to address all that really helped a lot. And as well as reading a Google review on how to build a perfect team in those case studies, as well as doing the health monitor check, really those tools help to shape on how we're able to resolve and work collectively and kind of mitigate all the risk of having team falling apart and having a very unhealthy discussion in your team. So thank you for having to watch the video, and I hope I managed to express my experience or reflect on my journey in APGENCO project. Thank you very much.